visually. Maybe if this students are not repeating, then maybe Miss Nguyen and Mr. Bang, you can like kick off like the noise a little bit, you know? Okay, let's do it again, okay? Let's do, I'll count to 3 and we'll say good afternoon, Miss Erika, okay? Because now in UK is the afternoon, right? So
Correct.
in Vietnam is the evening, but in the UK is afternoon, so we'll say good afternoon, okay? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Good
afternoon,
Miss Erika.
Erika.
Okay, thank you for supporting. Okay, now please welcome Miss Erika Keizere from the UK. You can introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, good evening, because I do know that it's evening for you guys. I'm gonna try and speak as clear as I can so you would understand me. So as you know, I am Erika Keizere. I am based in the UK, but I originally come from a very small country in Europe called Lithuania. I hope at least some of you have heard about this before. So Lithuania, one of the Baltic states countries, is where I originally come from. I came to the UK about 13 years ago, so I have completed my studies in the UK, including, of course, University of Greenwich, which I am still a huge fan of. So I have completed my bachelor degrees in event management in University of Greenwich, and then I followed with 2 masters, one in strategic marketing communications and the other one in international marketing and communications. Yes, I have been around the jobs, doing consultancy, working for charities. I have been doing a lot of conferences and events in a hotel. So my main background kind of focuses on tourism, hospitality, and events. But as all of you know, COVID-19 was a huge letdown to everyone, but I saw it as an opportunity. So I have decided to establish my own social media marketing agency at the time, because I have noticed that there is a huge gap in the market at the time. A lot of businesses appeared and there was nobody to market them. So I took this job and I started a social media marketing agency. It was called Avoraza, in honor of my great grandma, who has done a huge influence on me. And then I have traded with it for several years, helping businesses around UK, especially small businesses, not the huge corporations, small businesses, with social media needs, marketing events, strategies, brand and promotion. And whilst I was running the company, I got offered a job at university to actually teach what I've been doing. So at the moment, this is what I do full time. And yes, my company was closed due to family expansion, as I've given birth to my daughter 2 years ago. So for that reason, I've decided to focus on inspiring minds with all of the experience I've gathered before. And yes, here I am today.
Wow, that's a wonderful introduction. So Miss Erika was graduate from Greenwich, from the major of event management, right?
First, yes, and then international marketing.
Oh, wow. So I just graduated in like March this year. Marketing management. So let's see, the audience here, which major they're studying and which major they graduated from, because some students, there are still students and some have already graduated, they're already alumni. So please type number 1 if you're from event management, same like Miss Erika, and number 2 if you're marketing management, and number 3 if you're business management. We also have that like business administration. Okay. Số 1 là event ở nhà, số 2 là marketing, số 3 là business. Oh, they have a lot of number 2, number 3. Oh, there's no number 1 yet. Oh, only 2 and 3. Mostly 2 and 3. Oh, from international business. Oh, okay.
We even got graphic design.
Yeah. Yes, and also IT.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay, now we'll move into the main part of today's talk show. Without further ado, Miss Erika Keizere will continue with her presentation about today's topic, the future of digital marketing, trends and innovations. We have 4 main parts: consumer behavior and buying cycle, customer-centric approach, importance of monitoring, tracking and evaluation, future of business, sustainability, AI and social. We'll get into the first topic. So Ms. Erika, can you share about some of your views and experiences about consumer behavior and buying cycle so that the alumni and the students can get some valuable insights from you?
Absolutely. So for starters, consumers in general or customers are the people who we are selling our services or products to. And behavior of those customers is changing over time. Every year we have something new coming in and people are choosing their products and services very, very differently from what they used to. Given the consideration of the competition nowadays, it becomes extremely difficult to stand out. And we have, a lot of different phone providers. We have a lot of different destinations promoting themselves. We have a lot of beauty brands, you name it. So how do we become the ones who actually make the sales, who actually stand out from the crowd? This is where the consumer behavior comes in as a term, because tracking and understanding how people buy, why people buy, are 2 main aspects which we should consider. If we don't know who the people are, who are our key customers, this is where we have the problem. So for starters, whether you are a new business, whether you are an already established business, whether you are working for the company within the marketing department, the very, very first point of view is understanding who are your key customers. Once we understand them, who they are, where they come from, how old they are, what is their gender, what is their background, what is their religion, what is their ethnicity, all of those demographic factors, we can group them into categories, meaning segment them. So segmentation. I'm not sure if all of you are familiar with that, but hopefully you are. So segmentation means kind of a grouping the people into separate individual groups with some of the common preferences, some of the common behaviors. And therefore, once we know those groups, we can target them accordingly. If let's say we have a fashion brand which purely targets women, it means that our key audience will be women. We're not going to focus on men. So even if we do, let's say, advertisement on social media, we will ensure that we exclude men from our social media, especially in the paid promotion. And then after the promotion has happened, it's important to track the buying cycle. So the buying cycle is basically the process which the customer takes before they finalize the actual purchase, before they pay money and you receive the order confirmation. And within that period, you will have a lot of different stages and you will have exits, meaning customers are putting things into their basket, but they never purchase them. And this is another thing which you have to understand. Why they put things into the basket, but they don't proceed with the actual purchase. So there might be a couple of different reasons for that. First reason is your website is too complicated and they don't know how to proceed into the actual purchase stage. Second thing is perhaps your items are too expensive and they found somewhere cheaper, which usually tends to happen. Third option is there was an error with your website and you weren't able to actually purchase things because there was an error, so payment system failed or some other issue. And then fourth option, usually which takes you to the exit stage, is actually a complicated payment process. So nowadays we do have MasterCards, Visa, we have PayPal, we have monthly installments, we have Google Pay, we have Apple Pay, and people prefer those options. For example, me, I always pay with Apple Pay everywhere I go. I don't carry my cards, I don't carry cash. So if Apple Pay is not an option for me, I don't buy things. for that reason, I exit at the very, very last stage. I might go put everything into my basket. I go fill in the details, fill in the address where I want my parcel to be sent. And then I go to the payment and I understand that, okay, Apple Pay is not existent. What I do is I leave. So imagine how many times businesses lose the customers because they don't know that these problems happen. So for that reason, they have to integrate the analytical tools, which will help them understand where exactly their customers are leaving. If they are leaving in certain step, then we need to fix this. If a problem is within our website, within, let's say, the payment systems, this is where we fix them. If our problem is not enough traffic in our website, we focus on the marketing. But before we are able to implement those strategies, we need to understand the consumer behavior and we need to understand the actual buying cycle and how do we proceed successfully till the very end.
That's wonderful. As I also learned from school, is like the methods called STP. You guys know STP, right? So what you share, I think it's kind of also like it's like segmentation and targeting and P is like positioning.
Absolutely.
So I think the students know that also because like we have a chance to learn that it's kind of like basics marketing. Yeah, it's very cool. And I see that what Miss Erika is sharing here is very valuable to you guys. So maybe you should take notes a lot, and if you have any questions and also note down, and we can ask in the Q&A session. Nếu mọi người có câu hỏi gì thì mọi người có thể ghi lại và mình sẽ trao đổi ở cái phần Q&A phía sau ha. Okay, so we'll move to the next topic. Okay, so the next topic that we have here is customer-centered approach. So what do you think about the importance of the approach to business success, having to focus on customer instead of like what they want to do, they just do instead of like have to focus on the customer? Yeah.
So when it comes to the customer-centered approach, a lot of the times we hear the saying, customer is always right. Yes, that has been kind of integrated into our brains for hundreds of years because everything we do for customers, and we always want to pretend that they are kings and queens and they are always right. At some point it is true, but at some point we have to cross the line on where this border begins and ends. Why? Because a lot of the customers are favor-based, meaning that they are just looking for goodies, free stuff, anything to get in return as much as possible. So they will tend to complain, they will write reviews on your website, or let's say Google reviews, or perhaps TripAdvisor. They will do everything to destroy you. But on the other hand, we have to be open to that feedback. For that reason, a lot of the companies have now started to actually respond to the reviews, whether they are good or bad. Why? Because it showcases the customers who perhaps have never been in the company before or never purchased the product, that this company cares, that this company addresses the changes and tries to make things better. Because a lot of the times, if the bad feedback is not being reacted to, it means that they do not pay attention. And whether it's good or bad, companies should always prioritize the customers, whether their complaints seem very silly, or perhaps there is something that you cannot do about that complaint. You still need to focus on that customer, provide that centered approach, whether it's from the negative or the positive perspective. I've noticed myself many times that if the company is only responding to good reviews, people start to question, so what about the bad stuff? Do they just ignore it? Do they don't pay attention? And if, let's say, 20 people highlighted the same problem, let's say cleanliness in a restaurant, yes? 20 people complained about restaurant not being clean, it means that if the company did not respond, they did not take any action. So that goes way far from a customer-centered approach. It doesn't have anything to do with customers, it only has things to do with money. And in this matter, in order to stand out from the competition, in order to minimize those negative reviews, we have to act on them. So if we showcase that we are making the changes, if we are responding to the reviews, and if we, let's say, later on publish a post on social media saying we are now maintaining our cleanliness and hygiene standard to 5 stars or whatever the grading criteria is, depending on the country, of course, then what we do is we showcase that we pay attention, we've looked into those reviews, we have taken them into consideration, and now we are returning the favor by promoting ourselves with those specific requests the customers have been asking about. So of course it's extremely important that this is being considered and that these specific factors in the customer-centered approach are actually being taken and considered very, very well.
Thank you, that's really great. And I also read some books about business and also customer experience. They also say that yes, of course we have to care about what customers think, what customers' behavior towards us, but sometimes customers are just being cannot explain, and we cannot just persuade everyone. It's the same thing with life, we cannot make everyone happy, so it's normal for some customers to not like us, but we still have to dig deep on that and then minimize it as most as possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So before we continue, I just want to catch up a little bit with the audience to see if they're still on track. So if you can hear us well and there's a normal speed and you can understand well, then you can type number 1. If it's a little bit hard, maybe you find sometimes you cannot understand, you can type number 2. If you feel you're totally lost in space, you can type number 3. Nếu mà mọi người đang nghe được ok, rất là ok, tốc độ bình thường thì có thể type số 1. Còn kiểu 50-50, một nửa là bay qua vũ trụ khác rồi thì type số 2. Còn kiểu nguyên một cái tâm hồn qua thế giới khác luôn rồi thì type số 3 nha. Oh, we don't have number 3. That's good. Okay, so mostly number 1, so they catch up with us well. A few of them, they kind of lost. Maybe we can speak a little bit slower and clearer.
I'll try my best.
Okay, thank you. We'll move to the next topic, is that the importance of monitoring, tracking, and evaluations. So maybe you can share with us about this. I see there are many things that relate to this topic that is very interesting. There's a book, it's a measure what matters. So it's if you want to improve, always measure. So what do you think about the importance of monitoring, tracking, and evaluations from your point of view?
So for starters, the most important thing for the company is to actually monitor and track the results and evaluate them to improve. In my personal experience, I have seen so many times where the companies, they're just so focused on the profits that their vision is very short term. And what they do is, instead of actually monitoring, tracking, seeing how they are doing, they just go with the flow. And what happens is, in a year, maybe 2 years, they start to feel oh, so what happened? Why we are having difficulties now? It was going so well for 2 years, and what happened now? What changed? But the problem is they haven't monitored and tracked their performance. They haven't evaluated on their steps. They haven't evaluated on the competitors. So obviously what happened is they lost track somewhere, and the competitors have taken over. They're starting to lose business, and this is where the problems actually begin. When it comes to marketing, digital marketing especially, there are a lot of monitoring, tracking, and evaluation tools. Obviously, one of the most popular ones to monitor and track the results is Google Analytics. It is actually being used by a lot of companies. And the good thing is that Google Analytics training is actually provided by Google free of charge. So if you are ever interested on trying to, you know, step up a little bit and try to learn analytics, just type in Google Analytics into the search engine, and if you do have a Gmail account, you will be able to easily connect to it, and there are videos with some tasks to do, reading material, and at the very end of the completion you are able to actually get a certificate for analytics. And there are a couple of stages. There is one for beginners, there is one for intermediate, there is one for advanced people. So depending on your level, knowledge and skills, you can always learn these few bits. So yeah, as mentioned, Google Analytics is the key program, key software which is being used by a lot of the companies. There are a lot of different ones around the world nowadays, and they're continually improving, but more or less they do the same job. What they do is they integrate the data from the website, from the social media and any other platforms which your company has, and then in one big dashboard you are able to actually overview the results over the days, over the months, over the years. So the first stage, the setting up stage, is probably the hardest one, because you have to connect a lot of the dots. You have to integrate your social media with the analytical tool. You have to integrate the website and any other platforms, like let's say shopping platform, with the actual analytical tool before you're able to monitor the results. But once you do that, the life becomes way easier. Why? Because you're able to see everything in one location. You are able to filter the results. You are able to filter the dates, the times. You are able to see who clicked, when they clicked, how many people got interested. And that actually comes back to the point of the buying cycle and consumer behavior, because if you track your analytics, if you monitor your performance, you are able to understand who are your customers way better. So of course the consumer behavior and buying cycle kind of goes hand in hand with monitoring, tracking and evaluation of performance. Once we do that, we are able to of course review everything that goes well or not. But how else can we find out what is going on with our company if we don't track and monitor? In the context of marketing, I've had a lot of companies who do not only actually not track their performance by themselves from the business perspective, but I've also was asked many times about avoiding tracking and monitoring the performance of the social media, for example. They said, oh, this is doing good, oh, this is doing bad, I don't need to find out what is behind it. And this is where a lot of the times we've lost the customers. This is a lot of the times where we didn't see progress. When people book you, they expect that the money they pay is gonna turn into magic in a matter of days. But unfortunately, this is not how things work. Things take time. And this is where the monitoring of performance, the tracking and evaluation comes in, because you have to constantly test certain campaigns, test certain promotional materials and see whether it's working or not. But if your customer says, I don't need the results overview, I don't need to see what is happening, I just need to see that I get the sales, and they refuse to monitor and track the performance, this actually becomes a huge issue in the long run. But speaking about the analytical tools, I have already mentioned Google Analytics, but also all of the social media platforms. Once you have the business page or creator page on Instagram, for example, you will be able to see certain metrics from your performance. So how much engagement you have reached, how many likes you have received. In the Meta business suite, you are able to see, when people were active, when did they click. So those tools and the measurements have been improving throughout the years quite heavily. So therefore, if you do have access to the creator account, if you do have access to the business account, and you don't check the numbers numbers, which are literally right in front of you, you are doing a huge mistake. So make sure you check those numbers and you look into them, compare them to competitors if you do have this option, even with, likes and shares. What you can do is you post a very similar picture or a video to your key competitor and see how you perform. Have they received more likes or you? Have they received more comments and shares or you? So based on that comparison, you are able to understand whether it works for your market, for your audience or not.
Thank you a lot for sharing such a valuable tool. As I've already chat in the chat box, if some of you miss or want to review what's going on, then you can see a few keywords that I've noted down that Miss Erika shared. Google Analytics is one of the most used tool for a lot of companies, and they also provide free training with certificate. Maybe if you want to learn more, then you can search it up. And I think there's also a lot of free course on Google, and it's also
Absolutely.
like short course. I remember like when I was a university student, I did take like marketing course there, and they did give me a certificate also. So if you want to learn more and it's like a free and trusted source because it's Google, then you can go to Google and find something there.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yes. So I think that is what we have learned from Miss Erika about the importance of monitoring, tracking, and evaluation. That is very important. And we'll move to the final topic of the main sessions is the future of business, sustainability, AI, and social. I bet this topic is one of the greatest reasons why people are here. So let's see what Miss Erika wants to share with us.
So I'll probably break it down a little bit because these concepts, they are related, but they are separate at the same time. Obviously, today we are talking about the future of digital marketing, the trends, and one of those trends is sustainability. When it comes to sustainability, we probably noticed a lot of the times companies started to showcase that they put the products into recyclable packaging, that they are doing some innovative ideas on how to ensure that their practices are more sustainable, how they are saving environment. So being sustainable as a business is actually one of the key trends nowadays. Why? Because the Generation Z is very keen on sustainability overall, and data shows that about 65% of Generation Z are caring about the environment. So that leads us to understanding that if our products are based for Generation Z, we need to address the sustainability factor. On another note, sustainability is not only about environmental friendliness. It's also about the community and integration of locals, ensuring there's an equal opportunity for everyone, including gender equality, including people with disabilities. I am not sure if you have learned about this before or if you have heard about it, but United Nations came up with Sustainable Development Goals. 17 Sustainable Development Goals is the action plan which has been implemented in 2015 by all of the countries who are part of the United Nations, and I'm sure that Vietnam is part of the United Nations. So obviously the goals, those 17 goals, are aiming to address sustainability from the forms of environment, society, and economy. If you have never seen Sustainable Development Goals or you don't know what they are, I strongly recommend you to familiarize yourself, because the goal of the countries is to actually ensure that all of those 17 goals are being fulfilled by 2030. Meaning that we only have 6 more years to actually work on it. And another problem is that every country is responsible for their own achievements. So they can request for help and backup on sustainability development through the use of those goals. But at the end of the day, it's their own responsibility on how they manage this. So again, we come back into monitoring, tracking, and performance, because we have to ensure that we monitor and track how we are developing towards the agenda of 2030, but also businesses are the ones who are now integrating those goals into their practices. And this becomes a trend. For example, in the UK, we still have a huge pay gap between men and women. A lot of the times, men and women are being paid differently for the same job they are doing. So let's say if I'm a marketing manager and my colleague who is male is also a marketing manager, he will most likely receive higher pay despite of us doing the same job. So again, one of those sustainable development goals is actually focusing on gender equality when it comes to the pay gap. And where it takes us, when it comes to employment and trying to get employed in those companies, it's very important to familiarize ourselves with the mission and vision statement of the company to understand where they are and where they are going. And even sometimes when you do have several companies to choose from, you wouldn't buy from somebody whose values do not align with you. I'm not sure about Vietnam specifically, but in the UK market, a lot of the times we would do extensive research before we choose a specific company, because we want to make sure that their values align with our personal values. So if I'm a person who is very keen about environment, who is recycling, who is ensuring that, that I'm eating only farm-produced food, that I'm avoiding any meat or whatever the things are, I will read about the company before I actually buy from it. And if I notice that they are the ones who do not recycle or do not care about the environment, they produce a lot of CO2 emissions, this is where I'm going to stop and I'm going to look for alternative. And on another hand, sustainability in Europe specifically became so important that people are actually willing to pay more for the same products as long as they are marked as sustainable. But here's the thing, we have a problem now. A lot of the companies say that they are sustainable, but at the end, they are not. I have personally worked in a hotel where I've done the events, and what happened is they have been classified as London's most sustainable hotel. But at the end of the day, they haven't been sustainable. They have did a few things. They have done the recyclable cutlery. They have done recyclable cups. They have done some, stuff around the actual hotel. They've introduced the recycling bins. They have introduced the opportunity to recycle the laundry. So for example, ask not to wash the towels every day or every second day to avoid washing more frequently. So automatically, there are certain practices, but did they actually fulfill the potential of the most sustainable hotel in London? Not exactly. So here is the thing, with sustainability, you have to be genuine, because with the spread of social media advertising, we can clearly see that if the company has lied, it will turn out on social media somewhere, and the company will get exposed by a person, by an influencer, for example, who will say this company is nothing close to sustainable company, and that will damage the brand reputation. And bad news on social media, they travel way faster than the good ones. If you would look into TikTok, for example, you would often notice people showcasing the negative side of the company and the bad stories which have happened for them throughout that company, rather than emphasizing what was good about it. So again, if you lie about being sustainable, that might backfire to you at the end of the day. So yes, if you are a business or if you are working through the business, make sure that you focus on sustainability, the genuine side of sustainability. And of course, ensure that sustainable practices, whether they're small or big, they are in place. And on another note, one of the other trends is, of course, artificial intelligence, our new best friend like ChatGPT. I'm pretty sure that your guys are familiar with it. There are a lot of excellent tools being used nowadays around the world, and they're continuing to develop. The features which they have now, they're just extraordinary. But of course, they do pose a lot of the threats. Security, data breaches especially, these are the major risks with improvement of artificial intelligence. But when we think about the positive side of artificial intelligence and how can we contribute with the use of it to the marketing and promotion, it's a great tool to actually generate the potential campaigns, to generate the ideas on how to market ourselves. And one of the things which I've struggled with while I was doing social media marketing is I used to run out of ideas. I was a very small company with 3 people, me and 2 more. So a lot of the times, if we address the client needs, what used to happen in the evening, we will no longer have any ideas on what to post for ourselves. So that used to be a huge challenge because you wanted to do the best for your customers, but it drains you so much that you no longer have any passion towards your personal pages. And you sit there and you don't know what to post. So a lot of the times, the good marketers are the ones whose social media feeds look very dead because you know that they are focusing on their customers. And back then, ChatGPT and other AI tools weren't really a thing. So obviously, the problem was that if you run out of ideas, this is it. So now we can actually use the AI tools to help us generate those ideas when we're stuck, when we don't know where to go anymore, what to post, what kind of a reel to create. So automatically, this is a perfect opportunity for us to develop. And those suggestions, they are usually pretty great because you get some sort of a comparison to competitors. The more direct questions you provide to the AI platform, the better results you receive. But if you're just continuously gonna copy and paste the things from the AI, you're gonna start noticing the drop in engagement. Why? Because at the end of the day, the ideas are still generated by the robot, by the machine, and they lack personal touch. So one of the key things is if you decide to take those ideas from AI, feel free to do so, but try and include a sense of personal touch to it. Because at the end of the day, customers, they want some sort of a human connection being developed. They want to ensure that they have something to connect to, that they have brand which they are following, which inspires them, and they want to continuously lead with them, that they want to purchase from them over and over and over again. And the constant engagement, whether you decide to use ideas from AI or not, constant connection creates loyal customers. And loyal customers are superbly rare in these ages because we have so much competition to choose from. We bought a phone, we didn't like it, we buy it from the other provider. We bought a hotel, we didn't like this hotel, we buy the next one. We went to the restaurant, we didn't like the food, we have 20,000 options to choose from because there are so many things. So in order to become loyal as a customer, you need to maintain that connection as a brand. And somebody just said that the AI makes you stupid, which is technically true. Because at the end of the day, the more ideas you generate from somebody, you start to slow down your personal creativity. Because if somebody will continuously do something for you, you will no longer have that inspiration, you will no longer have the brainstorm. So it's great to use AI for assistance, but just be careful and wise on how you use it. As long as it takes over you, this becomes the end of your creativity. And as one of the students mentioned in the meeting chat just recently, AI makes you stupid. So you become kind of stupid because you no longer follow the trends, you no longer have to read about anything, you no longer have to follow the industry news, because ChatGPT will do everything for you. So of course, this become a huge problem. So AI is the future of marketing. That is 100% true. AI is one of the trends, but we just have to be very careful about where we integrate it, how we use it, and of course, we need to provide our customers with safety and security, and of course, the human connection which they want. And obviously that leads us to the part of social media. Social media is kind of closely related to the AI. Why? Because the ideas we generate on AI, we can implement in the social media posts. But as I have already mentioned, customer loyalty is one of the keys to success. But it's pretty difficult to achieve that unless you target local customers. So if you are in a small village, you are the only business in town, then of course you can expect loyalty without even trying on social media, because everyone will know you, there is no other choice. So even you promote yourself or not on social media, customers will continue to return to you. But in the mega cities like London, like Hanoi city, if I'm correct, right? The capital city of Vietnam. Yeah, so in those big cities, we do not have this opportunity to be the only ones. We are one of many. And of course, that becomes a huge problem. But for that reason, we are using social media, and we're coming up with a lot of creative campaigns to try and promote ourselves. We sometimes might be funny, we sometimes might be serious, we sometimes say that any marketing is good marketing, but sometimes that backfires to us because a lot of the companies damage their reputation due to poor social media posts. For example, big brands like Zara or H&M, where in a lot of racism scandals because of what kind of pictures they post on social media and what kind of campaigns they are releasing. And thinking that these people who work in those big brands, they are experienced professionals, they've been in the industry, and they just don't post a campaign. It goes through multiple stages of approval, and they still manage to damage their reputation like that. This already indicates that we have issues in the society. So obviously social media is an excellent tool to help us out. It continuously improves with new features. So let's say a couple of years ago, only TikTok had the option for vertical videos, like real type of videos, yes? Because Instagram and Facebook were mainly using the horizontal picture, yes? But now all of those platforms have transformed and all of them have the vertical option, yes? So it's easy to watch on a phone. All of them have the opportunity to develop short videos, and now the time is increasing because TikTok actually noticed that 1 minute is not enough to produce a video. So they have increased this time. Even LinkedIn nowadays is actually moving forward and catching up with a lot of those features. LinkedIn introduced the stories as well. They've introduced the conference call, which wasn't available a couple of years ago. And we wouldn't even think that LinkedIn needs stories, but it does actually need stories, and it works out quite well for some of the businesses. WhatsApp, for example. WhatsApp also has the feature of stories, which was never a thing before. So we can see how each of those social media platforms are adopting the same features to ensure that they are available to maintain this competitive advantage. They cannot really compete on who is better based on the features, but they are trying to align themselves to be at the same level. So at least they are not losing people. And obviously when the Reels got introduced TikTok was the first one to kind of proceed with those short videos. Then Instagram introduced them, and Facebook waited for quite some time before you were able to actually share your own reel from Instagram to Facebook. So a lot of the customers, actually, a lot of the users were unhappy because most of the time Instagram and Facebook accounts are being connected together. So what they do is they post something on Instagram, and there's this option to also share on Facebook, so you don't have to share it twice. The same post comes up on both platforms at the same time. So automatically, you know, people weren't happy because they weren't able to share their reels to Facebook because Facebook did not really have that feature. But as the years went by, Facebook has improved, and if you are aware, Meta, a company owned by Mark Zuckerberg, owns both Instagram, Facebook, and of course now Threads is part of the Meta company, and WhatsApp. These are kind of the four most famous platforms which Meta owns at the moment. So we can see that all of them are attempting to, you know, adapt the same things to be able to maintain those customers. And what Meta succeeds at the most when it comes to social media is ability to log in with the same details. So for example, if you created Threads account, you just log in with Instagram. You don't need to create new details. It links very well. So whatever you post on Threads, you can then transfer to Instagram very easily. So it saves time. It's very convenient. There's less headaches. So everyone is happy. And this is kind of going to continue to move forward. So in the future, most likely, we will see a lot of the social media platforms and apps trying to adopt similar tools. So they won't be very different from each other. They will try and become as similar as possible. But on the other hand, when it comes to social media, the importance of video content is also raising in importance. Why? Because video can capture the emotion better. Video can capture the attention, and there are a lot of more angles you can showcase, whether you are doing a promotional campaign, whether you are doing a video of your company, whether it's the backstage, whether it's the product. With one picture, it's hard to represent the feeling, but as long as you add that little trending music into it, this becomes a huge deal. Yes, that is why we see that videos with music, the popular music, the trending music specifically, are performing very well. And another thing which used to be the problem previously is that business pages on, for example, Instagram or TikTok, they weren't able to use the trending music, and some accounts are still kind of having difficulty right now to this day, because you cannot access the same list of songs as with the individual personal account. That is why if you are on Instagram, please create the creator account for your business, not the business account, but creator. In that matter, you will be able to use all of the features of the personal account, and you will still be able to see the statistics. Whether you are on LinkedIn, whether you are on TikTok, YouTube, whatever the platform is, video content is now a trend, and it's going to continue to grow further, because one of the key things is sometimes you do not have to watch the video, you can just listen to it, and it still represents the message. So a lot of the companies are now moving away from the original images or carousels for Instagram. They're just staying with the stories, but also video stories mainly, and the video reels to showcase their company, their products, the special offers, or anything else they want to share. Because also the algorithm is tending to push videos more frequently. So algorithm on social media does prefer the videos. Why? Because people continue spending more time on social media if they watch videos instead of the pictures. I go through my feed, I look into, let's say, 2-3 images, and I'm done. But with the videos, you capture the attention. Look how many people lose their lives on TikTok because they just continue scrolling over and over and over, and how much time we end up spending on social media because of the video content, not the actual images. So whether you are a new business, whether you're old business, whether you're working for the company, and despite of any type of a content you might want to produce, try to transform it into video, because it is actually quite important nowadays. Oh, and one more thing about the social media is the dilemma of hashtags. Yes, so with the hashtags, we often have people saying different things about it. One side of the marketers say they are not usable. It's no point of adding them. Another part of marketers say we need to use them, but not too many. And then the third part of marketers, they say we need to go full on 30 hashtags to the maximum, you know, and make sure that we cover all of our bases. And to be fair, in my experience, I have done all of the different varieties. You know, I have tried with maximum amount of hashtags, I have tried with limited amount of hashtags, I have tried no hashtags, and still the algorithm decides whether they want to push you or not. So there is no specific secret for the hashtags. But I would say try and include at least a few, because you never know where it might take you. You never know what kind of things people will look for. But of course, these hashtags have to be specific. They have to be relevant to your location. They have to be relevant to your company's service or product. So let's say beauty London, or nails in Vietnam, or spa Vietnam, or whatever the service or product it is. So automatically, you know, include those hashtags just to specify your industry, and try and avoid the big ones with multiple millions of features, because your post will get lost in a matter of seconds. If the hashtag is being used very frequently, let's say 1 million or over times, most likely you will not get any benefit of it, because people will not be scrolling through tens and thousands of images and pictures because they want to see something. Try to be more narrow. So maybe for the industry and location, select something that is between 10,000 and 100, or up to 500,000. Just because, you know, the more you stay on the feed for the search, the more chances you have on becoming noticed, and ensuring that whoever is looking for a specified business or specific location, they will have more chances on finding you. So that is kind of all I wanted to add on the future of business for now.
Thank you very much. That is very clear. I catch up the keywords and I type in to the comment, to the chat box, so that if anyone wants to review, or they get lost along the way, they can like review it. And as I also run a page on Instagram, so like I kind of get what you're sharing. So like I'm also out of ideas. And but if like we only use the idea from ChatGPT without like adding any personal touch, then it will be like we eat something without any spice, you know, like we just
very plain.
Very plain. You will still get food, because you still consume, we still like get food, like the post will still be there, and then like you'll still have it on, but like it doesn't attract, it doesn't like captures customers, and it doesn't get to the real main point, is to actually get customer, instead of just like, oh, I'm just posting because like it's like a duty. It's like you eat for your food, you not eat for your mouth. And also like with the hashtag thing, I also try, like in the past I put like 30 out of 30, like everything I put in there. If they say that like, oh, you're 30, cannot add anymore. And then I say like, you know what if we try with that hashtag? I think it's just like algorithm is something, is like, I see that this post is good, I just spread. Otherwise it just doesn't relate much, like depend all on the hashtag. I remember one time my member, they posted a post without any caption, without any hashtag, because it was a mistake, like they didn't add it in, and it took us a few hours for me to notice, and like, why didn't you like add anything here? But then that post, it got viral without any like hashtag, no caption. And it's got like 1,000 likes in like just a few hours. Normally, like it cannot reach that fast. And then I see like, wait, so it's not about like hashtag, because that time we use hashtag a lot, but that post, they just like, okay, let's just spread this post. And sometimes I put also like a little hashtag, and also it depends. Also like another time I post my personal sharing about like I think we like my point of view. I think if we just add followers, like add following, we just follow a lot of people, and then there's no space for just us being ourselves. We always like define by who we follow. So I want to like detox, you know. So I just like unfollow everyone. So I just post a post to say that it's not something personal, that I hate you or something. It's just I unfollow everyone, and then I post it, and then I share like my view upon that. I was a little bit scared. I say like, what if people judge me for unfollow everyone? But like, it's okay. I'm just post. That time I remember I was doing my final project for graduation, and I was like, okay, let's stop and let me just do that. Then it turned out I received non-negative comments up till now, and like within days, like it's like the Instagram, it just like moved my post like everywhere. I don't know, it just reached like 1,000, and then the next day another 1,000, it reached like 7,000 likes. Like, what's on earth? So I think that like it depends a lot on like different factors also. And also like you said about personal touch, I think that also matters a lot, especially when like in Generation Z, they care a lot about like connection. Say like, oh, I might connect with this company, with this person, like does her values align with me? As I'm also a Gen Z, I also care a lot if like something it's marked like this is reusable, good for environment. Oh, okay, might take this even though it costs more.
Yeah, that's the
like
point.
Something. But like personally, I was like, you know what? But like it's good. Like it saves the environment. I need to do something for my environment. I cannot just, if I cannot help in other way, I don't want to harm it. That's why like I think it's also relate. So that is the end of the main sessions of the sharings of Miss Erika Keizere. And now we'll move to the most weighted session, the open Q&A. There will be 3 additional prizes for 3 students who have the coolest questions, and these awards will be chosen and presented by our speaker at the end of the talk show. The students who have been picked by our speaker, please comment in the chat box so our organizer can send you prizes through your email. Sẽ có 3 giải thưởng dành cho 3 bạn có câu hỏi hay nhất, và 3 bạn sẽ được chọn bởi diễn giả. Khi bạn được chọn thì bạn hãy nhớ comment vào chat box để ban tổ chức có thể gửi quà cho bạn qua email nha. Okay, now you can raise your hands if you have any questions. You can ask directly with the speaker, Miss Erika, or you can also type in the chat box by English, but it's more preferable if you raise your hand so we can have like direct conversation. Could I have a questions? Miss Wan, like, can you raise your hand? It's more preferable, but if it's not convenient or available for you at the moment, then maybe you can type in the chat box. We'll wait for Miss Wan to see how she's respond.
Can you hear me okay?
Oh yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm here. So nice to meet you, Erika, and thank you for your beneficial sharings today. And honestly, I'm so impressed with your sharing about the future of business, especially the future of business regarding sustainability. Because personally, I'm majoring in communications, and I have the deep interest regarding sustainability in digital marketing. But I also have like the concern about the career opportunities in this industry. Like this is a niche, I think it's a niche in marketing and communication. And from your experience, can you share to us and to me about the some career opportunities regarding sustainability or corporate social responsibility in this industry, maybe all over the world, or especially in your in UK? So that is my first question about the career opportunity in sustainability. And my second question, you mentioned about sustainability. It's not just about environmentally friendly, but it's also about our local action, our local integration. And I also have questions regarding this. And take note this. If I am running a local company on social media, and I also have an ambition to make it on the global scale, how to make it reach to global audience. So, for example, UK market. Can you recommend to me some beneficial tools I can use to know more about UK inside particularly and more countries generally? So that is my two questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for all of your questions and insights. They are very valuable. And I'm very impressed to hear that you are running your company as well, on the local range. So that is absolutely amazing. To start with the careers in sustainability, I'm not sure about the context of Asia and Vietnam specifically, but for Europe and the UK, we now have a lot of the companies who actually have the role of sustainability manager. So there are departments within the companies who are responsible for sustainability. And in one of the companies I've previously worked, we also had a green team, which was kind of a meeting up once in a month, sometimes even more frequently, to discuss what initiatives towards the sustainability we're going to implement next in our workplace. When it comes to marketing specifically, I don't believe that sustainability is a different role within the marketing, but in the context of the offices and the businesses, we often now have the separate departments for sustainability manager, sustainability assistant, sustainability researcher, because there are people who actually research on how to become more sustainable. So obviously there are a couple of different roles, but at the end of the day, I believe that all of the roles are now somehow focused on sustainability, because sustainability also reflects to the ethics. And being ethical in the workplace, despite of any role, is extremely important, especially in the context of Europe and the UK, of course. So whether you might not specifically have a designated role, which specifically relates to sustainability, you will be able to use some of that knowledge as part of your work, as part of your duty. And trust me, an extra understanding on anything, whether it's marketing, business, accounting, human resources, or sustainability, whenever you go to work, you would be surprised how often you will need to use a variety of different knowledge you have. So the more knowledge, the more various it is, the better it is for the industry, the more competitive advantage you have over the other candidates. And speaking of the second question about entering the different market with the local business, so for starters, I would recommend separating your social media to the international public, and all of the content needs to be posted in English or any other language which you are focusing on. If you are trying to target, let's say, all Europe, then of course English will be your dominant language. If you're focusing on, let's say, countries like France or Spain, then of course ideally you would be using the language in your post which is relevant to the target audience. So for starters, separate social media accounts with a designated language for that. And also, on another note, for example, in the UK, diversity and equality is a very big thing. So if you post the content that is constantly reflecting on white market, this is going to be the problem. So you need to include a variety of people, showcasing diversity, not only men. not only women, a mixture of both, not only white ethnicity, but also African Americans, South Africans, Americans, Australians, Asians. So a variety of diversity needs to be applicable to your posting, because I've noticed a lot of the times people, especially customers, starting to point fingers saying, oh, this company is probably racist because it only focuses on one specific type of background, one specific type of gender. So again, I'm not gonna buy from this because I'm Generation Z, and I don't want this because it doesn't align with my values. So this would be also another option which you would need to consider. And thirdly, but lastly, obviously not the last thing, but there might be multiple different ways to approach the market. Analyzing who your customers are, as mentioned in the very beginning, is very important. So if you do have a specific demographic, specific location, you need to try and understand their preferences, their needs. So for example, if you are selling clothes and you're selling dresses in 2 colors, if your competitors have 20 different colors, you and your business with 2 color dresses will lose, because again, there's not enough variety. So you need to go for dresses with 30 colors instead. So at least, you have the competitive advantage. So trying to find the gap in the market and becoming that unique seller who only has this specific type of a distinguishment might potentially lead you to success in the foreign markets.
I appreciate your dedicated sharing so much. Because honestly, although we care about sustainability, but when you mentioned about the context of Asian and Vietnam as well, that's why I asked you about UK market, because in this market there are limited opportunities regarding this industry. So thank you so much, and maybe I will figure it out more about UK market. Thank you so much.
No worries. Thank you for your questions.
Okay, thank you, Miss Erika, for sharing such a wonderful answer to Miss Oanh, and thank you, Miss Oanh, for having a really wonderful question to ask. And I think that the question that Miss Oanh asked also helped a lot of people here also. So when someone's asked and Miss Erika answer, you can also learn from that also. You can raise your hand if you have any questions. And I saw that there's one question in the chat box, so I'll read it out. But when I read out, or when there's people having conversation with Miss Erika, you can also raise hand. We'll just call you later, okay? A question from Mr. Dũng. If you have to learn marketing again from the start, what do you prefer to learn first?
Probably the statistics, because they take longest time to understand and master. Personally, my weak point used to be data. It's still not my strongest point, but I have improved over the years. And obviously, when it comes to analytics, understanding how to perform the evaluation and monitoring would probably be something I would learn first. And also, what I have now been doing with my personal students, I have been implementing Google Analytics training into my classes. So every time we do have the digital technology class in my course, we always go for Google Analytics training, so they could at least have a basic understanding on how things work. So I would start with analytics, because the theory, it will be useful, but not as much as, the actual practical activities. And also, I would say that the idea generation and promotions and campaigns would probably should be going to the last point, because it's all about you as a person and your creativity on what you can come up with. But those practical things, let's say even how to film a reel or how to post on social media, not everyone is familiar on how things work. So starting with those practical things, and of course statistics being the priority, I would say would be something I would do for starters if I would have to do it again.
Okay, I hope that Miss Erika's answer can satisfy the questions of Mr. Dũng. And also I noticed that there are also two more people who like reacted to that question. So I hope that like Mr. Dũng, Miss Thảo and Miss Lin or other people also benefits from that answer. And I see that Mr. Michael's raising his hand. Yes, you can turn on your mic.
Sorry, Michael, I can't hear you because you're still on mute.
Yeah, I had to figure out how to take care of that. I've actually worked in education for a long time. I've spent a few years here in Vietnam teaching in public schools. And I've actually created custom curriculums for pretty much all age groups and levels of intensity. And I am actually trying to assist with training Vietnamese English teachers. So, because I'm not going to be here forever, obviously, trying to pass it on kind of thing. And I'm trying to find out what I can do to help them actually market their programs in general without triggering any cultural insensitivities. Because here in Vietnam, they're very traditional and they have their way of doing things educationally speaking. And a lot of the curriculum that I've created kind of goes against that. What would you actually recommend?
Wow, that's a tricky one. I really love what you do, by the way. That sounds fantastic. And it's good that you already have different groups, so you kind of have different segments. It's very difficult to attract people who have different behaviors and understanding, especially when the cultural difference comes into place. So usually there is a way of, you trying to reflect on that teaching, including the cultural understanding, or you ask them to be open-minded basically and try and get into that international understanding and context. So when it comes to marketing, it might be very tricky because they might receive the wrong message. So maybe trying to avoid those sensitive spots and focus outside of the tradition, but showcasing the benefits of the program might be something that you will be willing to consider, because trying to emphasize your strengths, like you will be able to speak English like, let's say, like an American or like a Brit, trying to, emphasize what they will gain from the program rather than just, and avoiding those traditional things in a way might potentially be something you will be willing to consider. So even on social media, creating posts or even videos discussing what will you gain from the program by avoiding mentioning, the cultural topics, potentially could work, but obviously it's hard to tell because you need to know the market very well, and I'm not 100% familiar with the Vietnamese market at the moment. I do have some students who are Vietnamese, so I do get a little bit of an idea. Yes. A lot of the students actually come from Vietnam and Nepal and Cambodia to study in our university here as well. So I do kind of have a understanding. So if I were you, I would start on highlighting the benefits of the programs. And I don't know why, but for a lot of the reasons, Asian market often refers to Europe as an ideal place to be. So maybe just, trying to highlight that you will become more European, or, more, you will gain this international approach and understanding in addition to the language, might be something that you will be willing to use.
I've actually tried that in the past. I've also tried to film videos of me working with students of various ages, trying to show how quickly children can actually grasp a new language, because for a child, vocabulary is vocabulary. They don't really care what language it is. And when it comes to adults, the actual challenges of unlearning what you thought was right, not and doing it in a fashion that would not embarrass anyone. But at the end of the day, unless you're offering a guaranteed certificate or a specific result without them promising that they're going to put the work in. That's kind of the issue that we're
Yeah, I understand that it might be difficult in that matter, but obviously that is why different messages need to be sent to different target groups. If I understand correctly, the people who teach English are Vietnamese origin. Am I correct?
Right.
So maybe, integrating them into your promotional material, showcasing that the Vietnamese originals, the traditionals, are actually teaching you how to learn the language, would potentially be something to consider as well, if you haven't done that already, of course. Oh. Yeah, feel free to find me on LinkedIn, and if you could drop me your pages, I would be more than happy to have a look into it, because obviously I need to familiarize myself with the information before I could provide you with some potential solutions. So if you ever want to find me on LinkedIn, I'll be happy to check it out.
I appreciate it.
No worries.
Okay, thank you, Michael, for the questions, and thank you, Erika, for sharing. I see that Mr. Nir is raising his hand, right? Yeah, you can turn on your mic or even your camera to ask.
I'm kind of camera shy, so yeah.
Camera shy?
Yeah. So I do have a question for you. I'm still kind of having trouble figuring out the definition of adaptation. So like basically you did mention something about how TikTok become popular, and then like other social media platforms, like they try to like recreate the reels and short videos, and somehow that became a trend and they became popular. Somehow they're still making it work. And like, let's say I'm having a business that involves like culinary, and then like my competitors are doing a campaign like eco green or something. They recycle stuff. So how do I know if that is a trend, or they're just my opponents are just doing something differently to attract other customers?
The thing is that the trends are very tricky. They happen very quickly and then they end very quickly as well. So jumping into trends might potentially be difficult if you have done this later during the stage. So sometimes with the cooking videos especially, I believe that cooking never gets old. And when it comes to showcasing how you cook, what ingredients you use, my feeds in social media are full with food, so I believe that one of the common languages around the world is actually food. So the more videos you create, whether they are focused on the sustainability factor or not, on the recyclable factor or not, just go for it. Just post as many as you can, recipes from scratch, how you prepare it, how you do things, what you buy, how to save money on certain things. There are so many different content ideas for food, because it's actually the best industry probably, which can attract large audiences at a very short period of time. I used to work with construction, guys. So a lot of the times we had difficulty promoting construction sites because it's not very popular. But when it comes to food, everyone watches those videos of food, images, as long as it looks pleasant. So I don't believe that you should be trying to jump into trends when it comes to food industry. Just go with the flow, continuously post. Consistency is one of the keys in social media as well. So you can't be posting 20 times per day, but you can't be gone for 20 months, so several times a week should be a norm to post to ensure that you keep the constant engagement. If you manage to see that there is something brand new, then obviously try and jump into the trend directly at that moment. Because if, let's say, something happened in the morning, like COVID-19, or a new pandemic got announced in the very morning, what happens is people will start talking about that in a matter of hours. So only those videos who have been released in the first couple of hours will be getting the most response. So if you notice that there is something brand new, you need to jump into that in a matter of hours, maybe 2, maximum 3 hours, because after 3 hours, everyone's going to be starting to repeat the same thing over and over and over again, and the algorithm will no longer push your videos to as high intensity of the customers as the first ones will receive. So try and focus on the trends only if you can actually jump into it at the moment. If you missed it out, if it's been a week, then probably it's not worth it. So just keep your feed consistent and ensure that you give the quality content which showcases how unique you are.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ngir, for your questions. I hope that what Erika shared is helping you for your business, for your page, what you will need to post and how you want to post it. And I think it's out of time for the Q&A sessions. The questions that are not answered yet will be sent to Miss Erika, and maybe the organizer will send back the answer to you later. Now we'll take a beautiful pictures together, so please you can turn on your camera with a lovely background and we'll take pictures together, okay?
And please forward those to me as well. I want to have a look at them.
Okay. Okay, everyone, you can turn on the camera, and Miss Wing, you will take pictures, right?
Yes, I will take a picture.
Okay, everyone, please turn on your camera to show your lovely faces.
Do you say cheese in Vietnam, or how do you smile for the camera?
Yeah, we also use cheese. I think that's like an international, you know? So we usually just use that. Yeah, 1, 2, 3 cheese. Yeah.
And student can react her.
Yeah,
And
we can
smile.
also
Yes, everyone.
Okay, you can turn on your camera.
Yeah.
Maybe
And Miss Erika.
Miss Wing, because you're taking pictures, so maybe you can count, so it's easier for you. Okay.
Okay, you can count now.
Okay. I'll count. 1, 2, 3. Okay,
Yes,
maybe
one
take,
more time.
yeah, take
One more
another
time.
picture. You can do another pose, okay? Okay. 1, 2, 3, cheese.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. So that's the end of the Q&A sessions. I hope that you've learned a lot from what others questions asking for Miss Erika, and you also like gain valuable insight from listening to other stories. Like I noticed that like people asking very detailed questions, which is really good because it's like direct to what they want to do, to their business, to their pages. So for the end of our workshop, Miss Erika, can you share with us what is the one thing that you wish the student could take after this?
There is no one thing to take out for starters. I mean, marketing is a very complicated process, and I know that I wasn't able to, you know, cover all of the bases and answer all of your questions in detail because it just requires time, and it also requires my previous knowledge about your brands or your experiences in order to recommend something that would work for you. But as I've already mentioned to Michael, if you want to find me on LinkedIn, I'll be more than happy to connect. And, you know, if you ever have any questions regarding marketing, regarding London or the UK in general, and if there's anything I can do to help, please hit me up. I'll be more than happy to assist with anything. And for one thing only, just make sure that you know your audience, because this is the most important factor. As long as you know your customers, you are able to market to them better, provide the services and products which they will be using, and hopefully will get them to become your loyal customers, because all of the businesses at the end of the day, they want loyalty and the same customers doing repeat business.
Okay, thank you, Miss Erika. As Erika said, There's so many valuable insights. There's no one thing, but what she really wants to focus on is please focus on the customer. So if you don't remember anything from today, remember customer. Dream of your customer. Okay, so thank you for all of you guys for attending here. And also thank you, Miss Erika, for taking time to share with us such valuable information about the topic of today, of to have you here with us at Greenwich in Vietnam. The topic of today's we have is the future of marketing, trends and innovation. We hope that through this sharing session, students will be able to understand more clearly about the big pictures of marketing and the valuable insights of their customers. Again, customers, guys. We also hope that to welcome Ms. Erika Keizere to Greenwich Vietnam in the near future. Thank you very much.
So.